Never rush your progressions. All right, so what the heck does that mean? This is so critical. Successful people who excel over time in such big ways, they're so awesomely patient. They don't rush their progression. They know the factors that produce the greatest impact. They hit those factors hard. They really invest in those factors. And then the gains show up. They don't worry about the gains. And so one way to get out of this outcome-focused nature, which is going to destroy any gains that you could have made, and get back to process, is to really align yourself with the progressions. Stop rushing progressions. Rushing through your progressions is an outcome focus, and that's just going to destroy things. Because, the strength gains you want, the speed gains you want, the violin gains you want, they're going to show up when they're ready, when your musculature and your neural processes allow it. So you're going to progress in the way that your physical self manifests or will allow. Let's say endurance gains are partly the result of having more mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, per cell. The reason I can run longer than most people is that I have more mitochondria per cell. That's one major factor. You can't just boss mitochondria into existence. They will manifest as they manifest. And same with strength gains. That's, muscle fiber and such. Learning is mapping and building associative networks and building connections between neurons. These are all things that are inside you, and there's no rush to do that. They do it on their own accord. What you want to really look at is what is the progression needed to obtain what we call in biology an adaptation, right? Building strength or building resilience or building emotional centeredness, or any of that in biology would be an adaptation, right? A change in one's physical nature to meet the demands of that environment. And so we know, based on research and experts in the field and whatever the expert is for the thing that you want to do, they're going to tell you, they're going to outline certain progressions. When I work with athletes, especially older athletes, for a longer period of time in this first progression, for an advanced person that I work with, we might only do it for 2 weeks, but we start with foot strength. I start with my folks on, I want to see them walk. Their walking is usually off. Their mechanics of just walking are off, right? So I need to correct that. Their running mechanics are off. Their foot strength, they have atrophied muscles in their feet, and that's going to screw up the whole chain all the way up. Their torso, their midsection has muscle atrophy. Things like hip flexors and psoas, which isn't quite a muscle, their core strength, their lower back, their glutes, right? All of these areas are important for everything else you do. Same with if you're going into a strength training, we want to build up shoulder and a lot of these stability muscles because that's an area prone to injury, mostly because poor form, but partly because we rush through these progressions. If you meet with an expert, they're going to walk you through progressions. Don't rush that. You're already paying a decent amount of money to meet with an expert. You want to maximize that. And if that expert is really good at what they do, they're going to walk you through these progressions that are going to feel beneath you. Get your ego out of that. Those progressions are really important. And if you're stepping back into, say, weight training or running, I know you used to run 5 miles or you used to bench press 185, but you're not there right now. Don't be in a hurry to get back to that level that you were in. You start out with your progressions and let your body evolve as you want. So when I start out running, let's say I'm in a big strength building phase over the winter, I'm gaining a little bit of weight. I'm turning that weight into muscle gain, and I might take some time off running where running is deprioritized. It depends. But if I do that, or if life slams me and I had a gap in my running, then I'm going to start out back several levels. This past winter or spring, I started out walking running 2 minutes, walking 3 minutes. And then the next week, I ran 4 minutes, walked 2 minutes. And then I ran 9 minutes and walked 2 minutes. And pretty soon, I just didn't need to stop anymore. But I took each week consecutively and I let my body do what it wanted to do. I didn't rush through those progressions just because I had run massive miles the previous summer. It didn't matter. That's not where I was. And so I progressed. I never rush those progressions. And when I don't, you know what happens? The change, the adaptation comes so much more quickly. And so within and this is going to drive some people crazy because they're going to say, oh, you must have rushed. But I went from that in 2 months to running back-to-back ultra marathons. So it's like my body just showed up and wanted to do that. Now, the reason it evolved so quickly for me is I had a base built the previous year. So I'm not saying that's going to be the same experience you have. But what I'm saying is when you really allow your body to adapt according to its own internal mechanisms that you're not even aware of, things like mitochondria, things like neuronal attachments, things like musculature development, hypertrophy, then things are going to evolve rather quickly because you're not doing things that aren't aligned. You're doing things that are aligned with whatever that physical mechanism is inside of you that's going to allow that adaptation to advance. And so when I work with people one-on-one, that's what one of the big benefits of working with someone is that I walk them through. I explain the progressions. I explain why we're doing it. I show them when they're ready to rush through it. I show them where their body isn't ready. They want it, but their body's not ready. And I give them examples of that where they're just not ready for that next progression. So let's nail this progression. And that thoughtful approach leads to such enormous gains. But alongside that training is a lot of mental mindset work. And so don't rush your progressions is a critical piece of mindset work that I work on with my athletes while I'm training them in the gym or whatever that is irreplaceable. And so, my favorite is David Goggins saying, you could train all you want, but you're just becoming a stronger failure. I love it. You need to build up your mental aptitude alongside it. And so, when you work with a guy like me or others, I am a psychologist. I am a high-performing athlete at 55. And so we're walking through the mental stuff alongside the physical stuff to make sure you're a stronger person of success, not a stronger someone who's going to be a stronger failure or much stronger, but you're going to give up, right? And then you're back to the start. So let's go break some shit, folks. Don't rush your progressions. Trust me, you're going to thank me for that one. Game changer.